Okay, this is our part 2 video for lesson 2.5, and our I can statement here is stemmed around a multiplying of fractions lately. In this one we're going to take a look at some different strategies that we could use to multiply fractions. We've talked about number line jumps and area models and partial products. We spent a lot of time on those, and now we're going to look at some more abstract ways that we can do it by understanding those commutative and associative properties that we saw in our previous video. Okay, so the first problem we're going to use, we're talking about Mara, who's using this strategy to multiply 6/8 times 2/3. So we're going to have to really learn how to read some math here and try and see what she's doing. Okay, so the problem starts out with 6/8 times 2/3. And what she changes here, if you look, she adds a lot of parentheses in here, but she's going to change 6/8 to 6 times 1/8. She took it down to its unit fraction of 1/8, and she knows if I take 1/8 times 6, that's 6/8. So she just renamed it. That's still 6/8. Okay, and she did the same thing with 2/3. The unit fraction is 1/3. You do that twice, that's 2/3. So she put that together and that together in parentheses, and those equal these two things. So now she's going to do some adjusting. If you look here now, she's going to flip some things around here. So as I look at this, I see that she's going to now take the 6 times the 2. She's going to take this one and this one and put them together, the two whole numbers. Because we know, due to the associative property, we can regroup these in different ways when you're multiplying everything. It doesn't matter what order you do it in. So she's finding ways to combine things that make it easy to multiply. So she said, I could take the 6 times the 2, do that first, and then I've got the 1/8 times the 1/3 that need to be multiplied. So that's pretty easy to multiply. So now she's just going to solve these. So 6 times 2 is 12, and 1/8 times 1/3 is 1/24. So what I'm left with is 12 times 1/24. Or if I have 1/24 12 times, that's what multiplying is, I have 12/24. And we've talked about how you could put a 1 under it and just multiply across 2 with our traditional strategy of multiplying, and you get 12/24. Or a half would be the best answer in simplest form. And she didn't have to draw a picture. She just used these abstract properties of the commutative and associative property to change some things around here. So again, we got to learn to study and read that a little bit and just analyze and see what she's doing. And good math students learn how to study and kind of see what they're doing and use the properties they've learned to understand that. So we're going to write some of that down here a little bit so you have this. Here's a sample answer. And again, you don't have to write it all word for word, but let's talk a little bit about it. As we just discussed, she rewrites the fractions as the numerator times the unit fraction with the same denominator. Okay, so that unit fraction, that 1/8 times 6 and the 1/3 times 2. So you guys can go ahead and be writing this. And then she uses that commutative property to switch the order of the factors. She can switch them around and flip them. That doesn't matter in the value when we multiply them all at the end. We can flip those around. And then she uses that associative property to group them differently. Okay, when she took and moved things around and grouped them different ways, like when she took it to 6 times 2, she ended up moving around with that commutative and associative property, and it's not going to change the value. Okay, and then she can just multiply those together. So she took the whole number factors together and that kept the fractions together, and then she multiplied those products at the end to see what we had left. Okay, so that's quite a bit to write. Again, I'll pause the video here if you need me to. So make sure you get this written down, and are you starting to see these strategies that she's using that's a little more abstract and higher level math thinking? Okay. I do want to take a look at a quick example here while you're writing, but I'll move this, and again, we'll pause the video if we need to. I want to skip down here to number 4 and just kind of look and see how we apply that same thing as another example, because this is a lot of newness, something you've never had to do. So we're going to try and use Mara's same strategy to multiply 3/8 times 4/5. So we remembered she found that unit fraction first. So instead of calling it 3/8, she's going to change that 3/8 to 3 times 1/8. And she's going to change 4/5 to 4 times 1/5. Okay, that's still 4/5, that's still 3/8. I haven't changed any value. Then she's going to take the whole numbers and reassociate and regroup them together, 3 times 4. And then that leaves us 1/8 times 1/5 grouped together and associated together there. So we know this is just 12, and this is 1/40. So I can just multiply 12 times 1/40, or 1/40 12 times is 12/40. So the goal here is you can take a problem that's 3/8 times 4/5 and break it down and show me you understand the properties and solve it in this abstract way using those properties. So we will do some practice slides now regarding those different properties.